Firstly, this is just the best film I've seen all year. And I'm not just saying that. I cried, I laughed. It just had every emotional reaction.
Oh, thank you. That's the loveliest thing I've ever heard.
Well, it's true. So if we were to go back and interview your school physics teacher, how would they describe you?
His name was Mr. Harris. He had some great facial hair, and he would be laughing a lot. I think he would be in hysterics at the prospect of me playing Stephen Hawking. I wasn't the greatest physician. Is that right? Not physician, physicist. Oh my God, I'm not a physician, that's disastrous. Physicist, I was a useless physicist.
What's the most interesting you learned studying this part?
What's the most interesting thing I learned? Well, I've got to say the science side of it was all pretty new to me, and realising that it takes a certain amount, you need a certain amount of sort of base knowledge before you can understand how ingenious what Stephen came up with was. So the science side of it was amazing, but I suppose the thing that I really learned was like a human thing. I met like so many people who are suffering from motor neuron disease, and their capacity to find humour in like extreme adversity and to live fully and passionately was kind of like probably the, I suppose, a bigger lesson I took away from it.
Totally. I mean, it is mental that Stephen at the age of 21 was coming up with things that were going to change the world, and we're at 20, well, when we were at 21.
I was on it. I was having too many pints at university.
I mean, it's mental, what an extraordinary man. You did meet him, you spent some time with him.
Yeah.
How has he kind of changed your perspective on life, or, you know, what thing most surprised you about him?
Well, I think almost, I mean, I knew he was a funny man, but when I spent time with him, there was this, he has an extraordinary wit. He also has like, even though it's very, it's difficult for him to speak now, he just uses these muscles. He has an amazing sense of power, and he like emanates charisma. So I found that side of it pretty overwhelming. But meeting him was amazing and intimidating in equal measure. It was one of the great moments of my life, but I definitely made a fool of myself. I was pretty overwhelmed.
I can imagine. We are now going to play What is Eddie Redmayne's theory on everything?
Amazing.
Okay.
Here we go.
First of all, what is your theory on soulmates?
My theory on soulmates is that they exist. Hunt them down and you will find them.
What is your theory on socks with sandals?
Oh, my theory on socks with sandals is don't let us Brits play into our cliche. Let's rid the world of that being how we're known.
What is your theory on Marmite?
Love it. In fact, I don't know whether this is totally a thing, I don't know whether one's allowed to say this, but the cheese and Marmite paninis at Starbucks are the thing I'm most excited about having when I come back to this country.
That's hilarious. What is your theory on UFOs?
On UFOs? I think I'm more into I suppose I'm definitely into the idea of aliens, and presumably aliens need some mode of transport. So yeah, I'm into UFOs, let's do it.
What's your theory on the best Christmas present you can buy someone?
Oh God. Best Christmas present you can buy, so I've got to say it's all. I remember a couple of years ago, my brother made me a photo album. He like went and raided all of my mum and dad's old photos and all this stuff, and that was probably the best. You know, it's about care. It's about putting the thought in rather than expense.
I like it. And lastly, what is your theory on the perfect cup of tea?
Controversially, I am a tea with milk and quite a lot of sugar man.
Who knew?
Who knew? I mean, I know that's probably, I'm not a lapsang souchong sort of, I'm not a posh tea man. I'm like a good, you know, PG Tips, ideally one of those pyramids. I'm a sucker for the pyramids, don't really know what they do, but I love them. Builder's tea.
Builder's brew.
Yeah, Builder's brew.
Lastly, so much award buzz surrounding this film. How does that make you feel?
Oh, do you know what? You try, buzz is a scary word. You try not to listen to it, because if you listen to the good stuff, you then probably have to acknowledge the horrific stuff as well. So I try to, it's not healthy for actors to hear that as things, so I put my things in my ears. Generally, that's how I do.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
that
you
was
so
such
much.
a fun interview.
So nice to see you.
See you.